Have you ever had those days or that particular day where you kept telling yourself these things that just were stopping you? I'm too old. I should have already done that. What am I doing? Because this isn't really just, I don't have any time. So I'm just going to stop whatever I'm doing now because I need more and more time to finally get to where I see myself. Because right now, where I'm at, I want to be over there. And for some reason, I can't get over there. And I feel like I just don't have enough oomph to get over there. I don't have enough energy to get over there. I don't care how old you are. Have you ever felt things where it's just stopping you? Today, we are in this panel where I'm loving on these ladies. It's called the Highly Successful Club, 70 plus years old. And I find this so inviting and exciting. Depending on how old you are, I bet there's something there that you're saying, I wish I should have done this, or I should be here right now, or I'm too old for this. We're probably going to learn some more things because I bet, with Sheila Winter Wallace, who's here, and Verlaine Crawford and Lucy Rosa Stagi. Ladies, I'm going to introduce you, but I bet you ladies have had a point where, you want to claim out there, like, yeah, I've been stuck, but I can't believe that we get to be together and have these great conversations for anybody that feels stuck in age. And you know what, ladies, if you don't mind, I will have you reveal your age too, so we can really love on everything. And if you don't, that's okay too. So let's get going. My name is Rhonda Liebig. This is the Fresh Talks Global Vision. I am here to truly stop the blaming and shaming, allow our voices to open up and be ourselves. I call this hashtag speaker locking arms. We are all out there sharing our voice, which really connects cohesively with our heart. And I say namaste to that because there is no mistakes, but namaste as in I love you and I can't wait to get rocking in this. Let me first introduce Sheila Winter Wallace. Sheila Winter Wallace. Oh my gosh, Sheila, it's so wonderful to see you. And when I think of Sheila, I'm thinking like this icon feeling. And when we were talking in the last interview, we really got into depths about like we really all are iconic and how you step into that. So Sheila is in this space, like I said, iconic. Like she feels iconic. She's there to help people step into it deeper, but she's about transforming pain into peace and possibility. Sheila Winter Wallace is the mentor and facilitator. She's known for her work as a body-spirit integration specialist. A Canadian, Sheila has built 4 businesses since 1975 in nursing, retail, energy medicine, and coaching ministry. She has deeply lived relational experience with family, teams, general partnerships, sole proprietorships, business, networking, sales, and consulting. Sheila knows firsthand what a failure, financial, physical, emotional trauma feels like, as well as the healing power of integrating the energy of that deep pain. Through it all, she discovered the truth of her strength in the face of epic uncertainty. Self-directed education has been key. More information means greater awareness, and greater awareness means better decisions. I love that, especially as we age, huh, Sheila? Yeah. Sheila is willing to share it all in support of your health, your well-being, and your ability to thrive. She knows just how much your sense of self and urgency matters. Sheila, let's step into that beautiful bio. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing really well. It's freaking cold here. You're in California. I'm sure it's warm, but right now it's centigrade. It's probably about -15 or -20 centigrade, which would be, well, it's really low. Well below 0 Fahrenheit.
Oh my God. Okay, that's cold, my friend. Yeah. I can't wait till we get in conversation about the iconic experience, about the being able to release the pain in the body, like the things that you are working on to help people, and doing it like almost like, in that flare of all the experience you've had and all the different layers. So I appreciate you being here, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Verlaine Crawford. Verlaine, thanks for coming in. Transformational consultant, speaker, and author. Living the full life of your dreams in my self-help book, The Power of Wholeness, Discover a More Fulfilling, Successful, and Rewarding Life. It is a bestseller and has won 3 book awards. Developed the infusion integration process, which helps release the blocks to manifesting your heart's desires for the 4 cornerstones of life, health, wealth, an exchange of energy, love, which is around relationships, and creative self-expression. I also emphasize she emphasizes the necessity of listening to and following the guidance of your intuition. Our guardian angels guidance protects us and leads us to great opportunities. I use this information and to process and help clients' interest in transformation and to create a successful 50-year marketing career. So, meeting your soulmate who has been your love for 56 years, and may have been more before he transitioned, became an oil painter and received many awards, including an honorary doctorate in humanitarianism. It's been a great life. Hey, Verlaine, welcome in this transition, just welcoming you in. Can you share a moment? Last time we were going to have you here, I know that we were going to, and your hubby was in transition at that time. He said, "This is not the right time. I need to be fully focused." Share with me where you are right now today with this.
Well, I'm a very happy person, and it's been an amazing experience. First of all, John kept saying, thank you so much for helping me. Thank you for not running away. And I said, it's an honor to take care of you. And I just loved him dearly. He was just one of the coolest people you've ever want to meet. And he when he transitioned, I came out in the morning and there he was, like frozen, and he immediately was there. I could see him in a ghostly form, smiling and happy, and said, I'm fusing my soul with yours. And yes, we are soulmates. And since then, I've received messages from him, and I've been able to go to the other side to be with him there. And it's fantastic. It's beautiful. And at least from my experience and from his experience. I asked him after a few days, what are you doing? And he said, I'm resting in the love. And I said, is that like a cloud of love? What is it like? And he said, no, it's the clarity of love. And it fills you and heals your soul. So that's what I've been working with since then. And besides the plumbing going out, the water heater going out, wanting to clean out the garage, which was to the ceiling. And I just did too much. And I ended up eating the wrong food. And then I ended up with a broken ankle. So since Thanksgiving, I have had a broken ankle, and it's soon to be taking off the walking boot. But there's such a relief in knowing, it feels like knowing, because it's my experience, that we do move on and we do continue on. And I think that is a wonderful, I always believed it, but it's a different thing to have an experience of it.
And I wanted to hold that space because I had the chills when you start talking about this. And what an experience from watching the transition happen to you fully being connected with your love. And so I just wanted to hold that space for you. I appreciate your energy here. And now you have to deal with all the earthly stuff of like, I have to do this, I have to do that, which before maybe you guys were partners in. So this is
between all of that stuff.
So Lucy Rose Estagi, woman, we have done so many conversations together, and everyone we seem to blend more and really understand each other more and how we get to support each other. But you are a community leader at co-founder of global leading coaching company. So you're always partnering with people. I love your approach, maybe some of the longevity and stuff that you do, because I'm finding the more that I blend with others and learn from others consistently by bringing community together and partnering, I'm noticing that I'm starting to, there's something new that's happening for me. But you're a really good example at this. So your bio, Lucy Rose Estagi is an internationally recognized business mentor AI-powered personal branding expert, and passionate connector of people. At 79, she empowers entrepreneurial women over 60 to transform their expertise into thriving coaching and course-based businesses. As co-founder of Launch Lab Academy, Lucy helps women build legacy brands using modern tools, camera confidence, and speaking opportunities. Her journey from becoming a stepmom overnight to launching an online business after turning 70 fuels her mission to show that it is never too late to thrive. Lucy is also a Art of Connection, 365 Days of Abundance, which she is co-author of 100 self-portraits, 100 Dreams, Ageless Voices, and the Art of Connection, 365 Days of Abundance, and host of Lucy's Inspiring Story podcast, where she amplifies powerful voices and meaningful mission. Her vision is simple: connect, collaborate, and create abundance at any age. So, Lucy, am I at the right bio where it says you're 79? Is this the old bio, or are you 79 or 80? Like, where are we at here?
I celebrated my big 80 in September of 2025. So yeah, I just, I'm an octogenarian now. I'm proud to be it. It's just wonderful. It gets better as you get older.
Yeah.
Wisdom is really my middle name because I want to emphasize that. I mean, I would not be here if I did not believe in collaborating. I mean, there's you don't need to do things alone. You just have to be open, and you have to be honest, and you have to be authentic, and people just want to connect with you. And collaboration is
I love that.
So they.
I'm going to get back in. I'm going to start the questions in a moment, but I want to get back to Sheila Winter Wallace. One thing I want to ask you that you keep inspiring me about is iconic. Can I give you a little bit of space there to share something about this? Because I don't hear a lot of people using that word, but it's just so based in love and what that really means. And I love when you share stories.
Well, it's interesting when we had the conversation, Rhonda, that word came out of nowhere. Not really. That was completely intuitive. I think each one of us is iconic. And I think we need to, to the reference to being your authentic self.
Yeah.
That I think is really what creates the iconic effects for each one of us. Each one of us has our own particular resonance. We're completely unique, but we just don't think of ourselves as being that special. I would say iconic is rather unique and special. So when we get to that place of thinking about ourselves that way, it's kind of cool. But how many of us do? One of the things that you had written in your ad for this conversation was three highly successful entrepreneurs. And I found myself sending information out today, and I wrote including myself. And then I thought, this has never, ever happened before that I've actually allowed myself to say I'm successful. So you have to define success for yourself. And some people are going to think it's about money, or they're going to think it's about achievements, or they're going to think about other things. But when I look back over my life, there have been some sad and sorry times, but there have been equally incredible times. And I wouldn't change one iota of it. And I think that is the definition of success. Just, it's like my husband says to me every morning, well, I'm on this side of the green because he's 83. and I will be 80 at the end of the month. So
I tell you, ladies, the vibrant space that that I get to be in when I'm with you, and now magically we get to all be together today, and you ladies seeing yourself eye to eye. I'm 56, and I'm just like, this is where I get to be if I get to be here, you know, to be in my late 70s, 80s, wherever this experience is going to take me. I really appreciate that story. And I love that we were together and that just kind of flowed out. And I was like, that totally fits the way that you show up. And I want to share a quick story about, we get so lost before we find ourselves for the first time, like the biggest, you know, our first biggest aha, where we realize there's so many things that hold us back. And sometimes it's just the experience that we're having. We don't realize that these stories in the subconscious and the things that we are not aware of yet, until we become aware of them. And then we get to see that we all are very special. There's nothing wrong with us, but we believe in the subconscious mind, or when we're having a hard day, that there may be something wrong with us. And that's where I want to go with this. Is my first conversation I want to have is, in your life, what's the biggest thing that you have dealt with, like the biggest struggle or hurdle in your life? And what are you like, where are you seeing where that shows up? Like, what's the latest thing that where this has been revealed, your biggest struggle? And I'll give you an example of where I'm going with this, so that you can keep showing up as your iconic self or your superpower. And where this is going is, I call myself an energy activator. And I know my biggest struggle was being shut down, voice being shut down. And I thought that was truly me. And I've been told I was lazy through my life. So, okay, if I slow down, I'm lazy. Recognizing and getting over that hurdle, it brought so much awareness of why those things were happening and how I could clear it. And the latest time that has shown up is anytime I'm ready to do a big growth. And so that's where I'd like to go with that question. Who would like to jump in and let's start kicking this off? Yes, go for it, Verlaine. I'd love to hear that.
There's so many things that happened to me over my life that were times that I had to go into a deep understanding of why they happened. I got my feet up in a lawnmower when I was 12. Not intentionally, it sounds like that. You know, I wanted to. No, I accidentally walked into the mower behind me, which my brother had. And so that put me out of commission for a year at the age of 12, which was very difficult. And then my father left the family after I got well. So those were all things that, you know, just threw me for a while, but then back on course. And then I was, I have many different car accidents because I've been in Los Angeles. I blame Los Angeles. And and then I got stabbed in an underground parking garage. And that put me into fear, major fear. I had seen on a movie once, you know, left-hand fear, right-hand fear, total fear. And I had that. And he stabbed me in the back. Luckily, an elevator came down into the little room we were in, and 2 men came out, and they saved me, and he got away, and my lung collapsed and so forth. So that put me into a whole nother spectrum where I had never been before, to be just, you know, paranoid all the time and PTSD kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And that's when I ended up going to a workshop. It was an NLP workshop where I was the guinea pig for an integration process that I have then expanded upon and used for myself and people that come to me, which is a miraculous kind of thing. I mean, it's so simple and so easy to do, but it heals you. So that is an important issue. And I think what I've been looking at recently is the idea that what happens to us is we have not learned how to control our minds and our emotions. We let our mind run ragged. It lets it do whatever it wants to do. You know, oh, this is a problem and that's a problem. And, oh, what am I going to do? And that was awful. And you're just going on and on. And what we need to do is take control and calm it down and just say, okay, we all have different processes to help people release some of that. But the key is to let us know that we have to go inward. There's going to be things that happen outside of us, always. But that we go inward, and in there, we maintain the emotional perceptions that we want within us. Do we want to be happy? Yes, of course we do. So why do we let us go into sadness? We can go into sadness for a while if we want, but, you know, come back out of it. So what I've kind of come up with is let's think in terms of having unconditional happiness. You're going to be happy. You're going to be joyful no matter what's happening. Now that sounds really dumb because you say, oh, the bomb is coming down or the storm is ruining your house and you're supposed to be happy. It's not like you're gushing with happiness, but you aren't letting yourself fall apart. That's what I'm doing now. Like with John, with losing my beautiful husband and all the things that have happened in my life. I'm not going to spend time with it. I don't want to be in the past, and I don't want to spend all my time trying to make a future or being afraid of the future.
I love that. And I do remember that conversation when we were in our last interview for Fresh Talks Global Vision, and you speaking about the experience. I can't wait till we get more of like the modalities and how you work that, because that's interesting with being stabbed, and then of course the transition of your soulmate and how you are relearning how to keep showing up in this beautiful way of just being happy, and it keeps bringing you positive things. So I can't wait to get in that next layer.
Oh, and I need to mention I'm the oldest one here. I'm 82.
Oh yeah, my friend, how old are you? How old are you now? You said 80. What? How old are you?
It's 80.
Are you asking? Oh, I'm 80. I just turned 80. Yeah, in September.
Yeah, and then Verlaine, how old are you?
82.
She's 82.
82. I know. I'm trying to remember. I'm like keeping this all together. You know, like this is a powerful panel.
I know. You're 56, so you got a long way to go.
Yes, a lot of fun. I'm hearing this is a lot of fun. That's why this is so powerful today. I'm really appreciating this. So, Lucy Rosie Stalgi, you were already talking. Share your story. What's one of the biggest hurdles, and that shows up? Has this been consistently happening, and it shows up in different ways? Like, what's the latest stuff that you're realizing? You know, this is your journey, and how you flip it to just being this highly successful woman.
Well, I feel a little bit like she highly successful. It's like, oh. But I do feel that way in so many ways. And it's really funny because I've never thought of my age until I was on social media, and I think because it's not something that you do. And I shared my age, and from then on, it just became a big thing. And people were saying, "Oh my God, look at you!" I started at 70 after being. I have struggled all my life with in relationships. I'm listening to you, Sheila, and also Virginia. Having long-term relationships. This is not something I've had all my life. I've been, battling being with somebody or being single. It's like, this all my life. So I'm with someone, so I've always struggled with relationships. And so for me, when my last relationship, when I became single at 70, I thought, oh my God, who becomes single? What do you do when you become single at 70? I mean, really, I could live another 30 years. What am I going to do? I've retired twice, Well, I thought I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I'm just going to be an entrepreneur. And what does that mean? Well, I started a business online. I didn't know what to do. I knew how to copy and paste. So I thought, well, okay, well, I'll find out. And, you know, it was one thing after hitting a wall, one thing after the other. And it was always a long way accepting, you know, becoming more resilient. Yeah, I'm listening to you, Virginia, thinking, you know, the fact that you accept it, you know, it builds the resiliency in us, you know, when we come to these places where we have to open up and accept what we have. That's how we build resiliency, really. And so I'm not surprised that I was co-author of The Art of Connection, and the last volume was Resiliency, because I wanted to be in there. And so what I did was start a business. Was really difficult. I was not
Hey, Lucy,
I didn't know what I was going to do.
Lucy, you know what?
Every,
I'm going to have
every
you,
bit of the
Lucy, I'm going to have you come out and come back in. There, we want to clear your voice. And then also, it's not Virginia, though. It's for Lane.
Oh, Elaine, I'm sorry.
I have a feeling that you're not getting a clear, but my friend, I want to hear more of your story so you can pop out since we're live and come back in. It may clear it for us. Do you think so? Or is it just where you're located, or we can try and see if it'll clear?
You know, I'm in Mexico and I'm down at the beach. So you want me to leave and come back in?
I can follow some of it, but let's just try it. If we might be able to clear it, but if it stays this way, we can allow you to have like short conversations. But she's gone. See, she thinks quick. This is what happens. This is why we are successful. Is that when you just do it, you know, it's like it's consistent movement. Okay, so Sheila Winter Wallace, please share, you know, like one of the biggest things that you just know is your hurdle. It helps you show up, but it also shows in your life, and you find ways to, you know, to come and clear it, or what do you do to do that? I'd love to hear.
Oh, I think Verlaine mentioned fear. I think I was 62 years old, sitting at my computer one day, right, and I was writing something, and I realized that I had lived in unidentified fear most of my life. In fact, at one point, I thought I'd lived in. I probably, if I were to be honest with you, felt like terror. Yeah. But you know, you grow up, you learn how to deal with it. And I think the biggest thing was always being fearful of getting things wrong or being wrong, those kinds of things. Mm. So I think that played a pretty strong part in my life. And it meant some overachieving, some striving, perhaps when that wasn't necessary. And one of my businesses I had was in Southern California. And it was a massive investment in time and dollars. And at one point, it was about ready to fall apart. And I had done everything I could to throw Band-Aids at it when it wouldn't work. And then I just decided that I would close up. And I had a business in Canada and I had a business there. So I was a crazy woman who had businesses 5,000 miles apart. Anyway, I came back home and I was just fearful of everything falling apart because, you know, I carried a load of debt, which in fact really bankrupted not only my finances, it bankrupted my health. Mm. And so somewhere in my 60s, I finally just made the decision that I was going to declare bankruptcy on my whole life, including my finances. And I did. And then I rebuilt. And at the time I did that, I reconnected with someone that I hadn't seen in a lot of years. And she had been through her own life story, like most women have been through their own life story. Yeah. And she introduced me to a context where most of our problems, you know, our cultural conditioning has been we've been taught to we've been taught to live in a Newtonian construct. So if you think about Newtonian physics, we've been taught to look at what is normal and what is abnormal. Certainly, from a nursing point of view, most of the training was focused on abnormal, and nothing was really focused on the normal. And I think that's become true for businesses of scale all over. And when she introduced me to this concept, by that time, you know, I was a highly advanced cranial psychotherapist. I had been in retail businesses, bricks and mortar, for 18 years. I had become a trainer of NLP. I was a teacher of hypnosis. You name it, I have pretty much done it. And I was using all of these skills to help people in my what has now become body spirit integration specialty business, and gave the retail up 20 years ago after 22 years. When my friend showed me this context, basically, Sheila, she said, you're a small g God, big F force. And you're not your body. You're a spiritual being living through this body that is actually a form of exquisite intelligence. So it was like unlearning everything I had learned over the course of my life and relearning this. And I have to say that the cultural conditioning, my same friend wrote a blog today, and it's on Substack, and she called it capture. You know, we call it culture. She called it capture, which I thought was really to the point. Just choosing to adopt that context, small g God, big F force, was significant to my turnaround. And so I actually feel that I'm much healthier now at, you know, approaching age 80 than I was even back in my 60s when I was going through all that stuff. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but living as, choosing to live as a spiritual being, and noticing when I'm not living that way, and then pausing, taking a big breath in and a big breath out, putting my attention at the base of my spine, where the essence of who I am actually meets the tissue of my body, has changed my life.
I love that you are claiming your biggest thing around fear. It's like sometimes you don't realize. I know that was one that I didn't understand, that I was living in anxiety, and so with you claiming that here, that is one of the biggest things, and how that can devour us as a human experience, you know, in this world, and then to bring somebody into your world that started sharing with you something that, you know, we're having this experience. And if you can give yourself the, you know, the base and build from that vision, then we came up with the icon. I'm not going to claim it all. I just got to hold the space and have fun with it. But I like that, because when you're so deep in that vulnerability that you have realized, you know, throughout your life, that once you start actually seeing it another way, that holds that space where you go, I actually am special in every way I think and what I do and how I see life now. I can see how powerful that is for us all. Lucy, I want to come back to you, because so Sheila, we actually got that answer too, like how you're working with your internal compass. I mean, talking about the tissue of the body. And if you want to add more, we come back into our circle. And the last question, I want you to add in some more when I start talking about this last layer that we're going to be working within. Lucy Rosa Staggi, I want to see if we get some more vocal with you. What I want to highlight here is we keep growing and growing, and I hear the experience that you are having is with relationships and knowing that that has been one of your biggest challenges, but you are really good with relationships when it comes to general relationships, business, the love you give for to people when you're running your podcast. You know how to partner with people. What are you learning with this relationship when it comes to you being able to be with somebody that that you're saying, I have a difficult time with this one. What is it that you're learning, and how is this affecting your growth in your 80-year-old time of discovering all of this for yourself?
Well, can you hear me now? Am I clear?
Right now, we're doing good. Yeah.
Much better.
Okay. Yeah, I apologize. I'm in Mexico. I'm having a wonderful time. I'm down at the beach, but the hotel internet's not the greatest. So that's an interesting question for me because I'm always asking myself, those questions. It's like in business, everything in business is all about relationships.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm growing all the time. And, you're never not growing as far as I'm concerned, because if you're not growing, you're going the other way and you're going to be, I said, I don't have to explain that. But the fact is, that it's an interesting situation for me. And I think it's been a battle about what I want and what I don't want. It's a great fear. I've never wanted children, for one thing. And growing up in a Catholic family, you got married and for the reason of having children, and and it's unusual for women not to want children because we are nurturing. And of course, God had a different plan for me because I was a high school teacher for 35 plus years. So I had lots of children. But it was nice because I could say, okay, it's 4:00, go home and be with your parents now. And, and I like that. And so we're never, the thing is, we're never really in control is what I know. And I'm always put in the situation with people such as yourself. I love people and I love to connect and I love to collaborate. And building relationships takes years. And I think that you learn to love somebody. But those things take years. And I don't know if I was just very impatient and always wanted to move on. I was never patient enough to do the everyday in and out, what you had to do to, be together, have children together, and then stay together and all of that, And so I've always wanted a different lifestyle also. So I've always wanted to be not the ordinary. I don't know how else to put it. And not that there was anything wrong with that. I was just seeking something else for myself. I was just, you talk about being a physical being, a spiritual being in a physical body. I've always kind of felt that. So part of me always felt that I didn't need somebody, and yet culture told me that I did. So there was always that always weighing on me too. It's like, am I wrong? Are they right? That kind of thing. So I don't know if I'm explaining this well enough for you to understand,
Lucy Rosa Staggi, I love what you're saying. In my hearing and seeing you in the way that you are learning your iconic space of this is how I feel. In this world, we're saying that this is what it needs to be, and what you were hearing is something that didn't work for you. It's like I'm moving, and you love to travel, and you want to do it in a way that's a certain way in that experience. And so at 70 years old, when you found yourself being single, you're like, oh my gosh. And then like, within a few months, you're like, yeah, I mean, so, I mean, but I know
Exactly.
I have a
Yeah.
question for you, and we'll kind of, this will be the last question for everybody, but that's what I think is that if I can speak for everybody and just kind of add in for this, that I believe that we have all, the reason why we're here and together is that we think that we can live a different life. Like we see what the general population is doing, but we're like, when I was growing up, I'm like, I'm here, but I'm not supposed to be right here. This family that I'm in, it doesn't feel right. And it wasn't that I was sad or whatever, which that is another story, but it was more like, I'm not supposed to be here. And I really saw to what I'm doing now, but at a bigger level. So I know I still have some growth to do. So, but can we kind of talk about that? And Lucy, since your vocals are going okay now, can you go in with this area of, I love what you just said in transition of, did you never really thought that you really needed anybody, but that was where the confusion came in. So some things kind of come up as we are doing things. And the last question I really wanted to pose, or I thought will help everybody, is how do we stop ourselves, or have you ever been in this where you say, I'm too old? Like, I should have done this, or I can't do this, or I can't wear this. And this whole I'm too old shows up. I think it's a perfect way to share with everybody at every age how this has shown up for you. And if it never has, how have you been able to, work in that not show up? So Lucy, since your stuff is coming through real clear right now, I'd love to hear that from you.
That's never been a problem. If I've heard other people say, and I'm going, oh my God, are you kidding? I mean, I have a housekeeper who's younger than I am, and she thought she was too old until she saw me go out and play tennis twice a week and do the things that I do. And she no longer thinks that she's as old as she is, and she's young as far as I'm concerned. She's 73. And so, yeah, the thing, I've never really focused on age. I've always focused on energy and what I could do. And I always wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do. And so if you focus on age, it's just something that happens to you. You become a negative instead of a positive, I think. And, I mean, I have a sister who's celebrating a friend who's going to be 107 tomorrow.
Wow.
That's how long we can live, folks. Keep reinventing yourself. As far
Lucy Rosa Stagi, your vocals are starting to go down a little bit, but boy, oh, powerful. Okay, so first thing that I got, just to summarize a few things here, so because I know each of you are going to be saying some wonderful things here, what you see is energy. So you are in the being of energy, and that is what creates what you're doing. You've always been able to do what you want to do because you see it as energy. Oh, that is such a wonderful experience because I am aligning with that more and more. So at 56, and by the time that I wake up tomorrow, maybe I will get that my own definition for myself, or maybe a year or so, or maybe I have to wait till 70. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I love being able to be in the energy of stuff, and you open something up for me, and I hope for our viewers also. Thank you. That really hit very much in a very special way. For Lane Crawford, how about for you and the I'm too old? Has that showed up? And how are you here in just all this positive, high vibe energy? If you have gotten into that, I'd love to hear that.
Yes, I'd love to tell you. I remember when I was 50, I was thinking, well, gosh, I'm kind of old now, aren't I? And so I went looking for a job, and they said, well, you're a little old for this job. And so I believe that every person outside of ourselves is a reflection of a part of us. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that energy came back to me, and I went home. I said, that's that. We're not going to do that anymore. I am not old. That's ridiculous. I just had 50 years around the planet, and I feel 25. Okay. So went back out, got a nice job, never brought up age since. Okay. So all right, so you get to be 82. And to me, it's a joke because it doesn't have anything to do with who I am. It's just 82 trips around the sun. How fabulous, you know? So I've decided I'm 35. And yeah, I raised it 10 years from the 25. So I'm 35. And so I feel 35. I look 35. I act 35. That's it, you know? And so, no, I'm not going to ever think about it. I have a half brother that is like, I'm old. I'm so old. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So, and I want to just talk a little bit about what our lady talked about, the spiritual, because that has been a key factor in my life. Absolutely. That bringing that energy through and feeling open to the guidance from intuition and from that spiritual aspect that I truly am is just, you know, it's fabulous. And in 1987, which is now a long time ago, I opened up to other dimensions and just, oh, wow, allowed that energy and that wisdom to come through and did speaking around the world from that position. And I can't imagine living without that feeling of energy. And in regards to relationships, I say 56 years with John, but we had like almost 13 years apart in the middle. And this was in late 87 or 88 to 2000. He was in Europe and I was here in the US. He got opportunities there that were incredible over the phone. He told me about it. I said, go for it. I got invited to Japan, Hong Kong, Australia, all these things. It never would have happened with either of us if we were together, right?
Right.
So 2003, well, it was actually 2000, 2001, but back in really 2003, we came back together. It was after there was no time had passed and we had lots of stories to tell. And so the ideal thing about a relationship, which I am incredibly grateful for, is I could be myself. I could be free. He never said, you can't do this, you can't do that. Never. And I had asked God for an honest man. And it was a very strange story how I got there, but the guidance was a couple of weeks later, go to the passport agency. I just gotten back from Europe. I had a passport and I felt this energy. I kept saying, go to the passport agency. So I went, got a job. They had summer openings and John was working there. And we ended up talking to each other. And in fact, the interviewer had told me, I think there's a young man here you're going to like. And told him the same thing. There's a woman coming that I think you'll like. And it was, you know, it took lots of conversations and wonderful, but we were on the same track. And how amazing, you know, his spiritual connection, mine. And I can only talk about it in terms of, it was a gift, just a tremendous gift. And I would wish it for anyone. But I also understand freedom. Mm-hmm. And I also understand that I wasn't able to have children. And so it allowed me to travel, allowed me to do a lot of things that if I'd had a different kind of life wouldn't have happened. So, yeah, and age, I know some people when they're in their 20s and they're sick, they have a bad disease or something, and they're going to feel far older than any of us right now, you know, and it's just really how you feel. And getting back from whatever takes you down, yeah. Coming back and letting that energy flow through you. It's really a flow of energy. Mm-hmm. And also when you're giving it out to other people, like all of us do in whatever way we can, it flows through you. Yeah. And if you do something creative, I love no oil painting, and I just got a piano, so I'm going to play the piano again. And, you know, these things, you just let that energy of creativity, which is the God force, it's the energy of the universe, flows through you. We wouldn't be here if we didn't have that energy.
Yes, Verlaine, you are just speaking exactly what we're doing here. Lucy Rosastagi and Sheila Winter Wallace. This is a perfect pivot for you, my friend, because Verlaine did bring up about that we can get into illness, and it does create more of an older space. Like you just like all of a sudden just go down that rabbit hole, and you believe that that is who you are. My friend, share some of your stuff around this experience of healing and body and releasing. I would love to give that space for you as we start transitioning.
Oh, where do I start?
Well, I mean, don't. I mean, only give a few minutes into it. I know that you have so many big, robust things to say, but I know that this is what we talked about in an interview when we were having this conversation. And you start talking about it a little earlier, so please share some more.
The body is designed to heal itself. It doesn't because we don't believe it can. I think the thing that was so life-saving for me in terms of switching context was, you know, I think I told you that I spent a lot of time in Hawaii studying an ancient Hawaiian philosophy called Huna. So I entered into that teaching probably in March of 1997. And then within as a novice, I didn't really know anything about it. It was just intuitively, when my friends started talking about it, it was a call to go there, and it never left me. Like I went. And within 5 years, I actually had been invited to become one of the teachers, which was pretty awesome. It really talked about the three selves, how the ancient Hawaiians basically lived by breath and the elements. And the breathing part, you know, so often I realized when I was growing up that I was breathing to brace for impact. In other words, holding my breath. Yeah. And in this new context was really about pause, put your attention at the base of your spine where spirit meets tissue, and then take a big breath in and let it out. Now, from a cranial perspective, relax your jaw because it connects with the reticular activating system in the body. And if the jaw is relaxed, you're going to take yourself out of a sympathetic or a high alert response. So everything's connected to everything else. And just breathe. So the word Hawaii, actually, Ha means breath, Vai is water, and E means the supreme, or I am sovereign. So Hawaii is I am sovereign, riding on the flow, Vai, of my breath.
Wow.
Ha. Wow. That's what it means. So, you know, we've always called Hawaii paradise. Well, if you can't breathe, you are not in paradise. You're in paradise if you're breathing. But so many of us have been culturally conditioned to hold our breaths. So the minute you know that this essence of who you are, your intuition rides on the flow of the breath, you can have full access to it by simply making the decision to stop, take a breath, and keep breathing until your body is stabilized. And you don't have to have a story about it. In fact, you'll soon find out that you don't have any stories about it. They just drop away because the stories are, it's the fastest way, I think, to shift identity. And when you shift your identity, the strategies that came out of that change. And then the results change. So, Verlaine, you probably know logical levels of thinking. You were in the NLP world. So if you look at it from that standpoint, that it's like living from 5, 6, and 7 and allowing yourself, as you know, in terms of chakras, and allowing yourself to be fully rooted at the base of your spine, which is 1 and 2. Right. And that it took me 4 years to get that. to stop and slow down, like to catch, literally become aware when I was holding my breath, because we're so culturally and trained to do that. And the minute you start breathing, not to brace for impact, but to actually open and soften, your life changes and you get better. So I'm healthier now at this age than I was 17, 18 years ago.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that so much. And when we may have all felt that at one point about not breathing fully and learning that. I know for sure myself. I was just with my energy activation community, and I used to not claim that we could heal our body, but I noticed there were big changes and things that were happening with everybody. That that's where we step and we stay into. Where are we going with this? I want to share with Verlaine. You wanted to say something, Verlaine.
Just wanted to say something.
I want you to add, Verlaine. Also, you're going to add what you want to say, and then tell where people can meet up with you.
Where can meet up with me? Oh, on my website at Creative Life Adventures, and my email is verlainecrawford@gmail.com. So I just wanted to add, it's so interesting. John, before he got sick, started he had asked me to start putting together the poetry he'd done and some of the drawings. And for that book, he had named it Permission to Breathe. Ooh. And the reason being that, we had talked about this. He talked about it with our mentor and many different things about the fact that people don't breathe. They just breathe very shallowly and they don't ever take a big breath. So permission to breathe. Well, what he got was a lung disease. And it took him in less than 3 years. And it was about the lungs tightening up and scarring. And it was so fascinating to see how much and how important it is. I mean, it's everything. Of course, if we don't breathe, that's the one thing that ends our life immediately, right? If we're suffocated. So anyway, yes, it's incredibly important.
Verlaine Crawford,
and being rooted, opening the chakras and sending that energy down into the center of the earth. It was so helpful for me because I used to fall down a lot after I'd cut my feet in the lawnmower and everything. I pretended I didn't have any feet, right? So it's hard to walk around with imaginary no feet. And so that grounding made all the difference, be able to plant your feet as you walk.
I love it. And we are definitely running out of time because I've been really enjoying this conversation. Verlaine, what I love about you is your infectious love for life and watching you discover more and more. Like a big thing comes up and you just lean in and you discover more. So the connection with your soulmate, John, and what you're learning at this level and how you keep growing and looking at what's the next thing. Lucy Rosa Stagi, I want you to be able to share how we can connect with you. But the reason why I really appreciate you is because I learned so much about collaboration. I love your tenacity, your energy. And when you collaborate, you go all in. And I really appreciate that about you. How can people connect with you?
Well, LinkedIn is probably one of the easiest. It's Lucy Rosa Stagi. And email would be my last name, Rosa Stagi. Lucy is my first name at gmail.com.
Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you. And then Sheila Winter Wallace, what I love about you is the calm space that I feel from you, and even the way that you flow in your vocals and the way I get to experience my tissues when I'm with you. My skin, my tissue, the vessel that helps me do what I get to do and be on this earth. And I respect so much about all of your ladies' stories. And Sheila, I love your experience and the sharing about Hawaii and paradise. And I could really feel the breathing of somebody who I thought that if I could blend in the wall somewhere and then just not breathe, that I'd be safe. And so you're sharing how the opposite side can really live in that journey. I love that. How can we meet up with you?
You can, my website is SheilaWinterWallace.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can also get me at bodygateways.com, because one URL is pointed to the other.
Oh, yeah.
And Sheila Winter Wallace at Gmail is my email, or Sheila at Sheila Winter Wallace, or Sheila at bodygateways.com. It doesn't matter. I got it. But Sheila Winter Wallace at gmail.com is the easiest one to get me at.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to give you some of the post stuff that's coming out of this, because I didn't know how this conversation was going to go. I just knew it was going to go fabulous. I could feel that. I could feel the tenacity of bringing you ladies together, the passion that you have in what you're doing, the innovation, and the way that you approach life. We got to hear plenty of stuff around that, and I could talk to you all day long. So I can't wait to really review this and get this out to everybody. So here's the panel: the highly successful club, 80 year olds, 80 plus year olds. And so no one's in their 70s. This is like everybody's just keeps moving forward as I get to know you year over year, as I've been running this for a while. And I can't wait to have you. And again, as individuals, you're always welcome to come in when you have something you want to share. Fresh Talks Global Vision is there for you. And I know that we are all here to make that shift for everybody that's ready to grab on and play and be in the energy and the free flowing of great oxygen, because at this level, that's what it's all about, is showing up. And everybody around us, as we go higher in this frequency, there's only good that you can see, even though we truly have the ups and downs in real life. But in reality, we're just learning. That's where our learning capabilities and our next discoveries, each time something goes awry, that it's always a learning experience. Thank you, ladies, for being here. Sheila Winter Wallace, thank you. Verlaine Crawford, thank you. And Lucy Rosa Stagi. Love you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So nice to meet you all. Thank you.
For your iconic and experience together, and the love, and being able to share all that you could. I appreciate you. Namaste. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.